let's violate Florida law and talk about slavery. As many people now know, slavery in the US officially ended when the South surrendered at the end of the Civil War. But many enslaved people didn't find out for 2 more months. And now the celebration of that day, Juneteenth, is close to officially joining Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, and Casual Friday in the American holiday pantheon.
Well, a major move in the Senate yesterday, unanimously passing a bill to establish Juneteenth as a federal holiday. The bill designates June 19, 2021 as Juneteenth Independence Day. This is in recognition of June 19, 1865, the date in which news of the end of slavery reached slaves in southwestern states.
Wow. That's almost unbelievable. The Senate just voted for Juneteenth to be a national holiday by a huge bipartisan margin. And this, my friends, is why I love America's government. It has all these old Republicans who are like, we've got to stop talking about slavery. Quit talking so much about it all the time. But I'll take some time off for slavery. Hell yeah. But no, seriously? I know some people are surprised that the GOP was on board for this, but of course Republican senators support Juneteenth. They love to celebrate the end of slavery. To them, that's the happy ending in the story of racism. But whatever the motivation, this is a nice moment for America. And yes, I've heard people point out that America seems much more willing to offer symbolic gestures instead of actual solutions like reforming the police or ending discrimination in the workplace. But I don't think symbolism is nothing, you know? Symbols are a big part of America, and they can have real-world effects. You know, the same way that celebrating Martin Luther King Day raises awareness of his legacy and his cause, or how President's Day reminds Americans that they forgot to vote for president back in November. You better believe, because it's a holiday, some frat boys are going to be celebrating Juneteenth in a completely different way. Yo, happy Juneteenth, bro! You ready? Chug, 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 chug. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows my chug, 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 chug. So yeah, maybe in some ways, it would have been better if Juneteenth had stayed one of those things that only black people know about. You know? Like Carmichael cross trainers, or DJ Amaretto, or whiskey cups. Don't worry, black people. I was just making a bunch of those things up to throw white people off the trail. You guys go celebrate Juneteenth while they're figuring this all out. Go now. Go now. Yeah, those whiskey cups. And finally, some political news. 5 months ago, you may remember that protesters stormed the US Capitol, hoping to overturn the election and pass a law that there should also be a show called Whitish. And now, one of the rioters is planning to return to the scene of the crime.
A New Hampshire man facing charges for his part in the January 6th riot at the Capitol is now hoping to go back to Washington as an elected official.
You might remember Riddle after seeing this photo. He's the man from Keene, New Hampshire, who admitted to entering the Capitol building on January 6th and chugging from a bottle of wine he found in a lawmaker's office.
What does being at the riots do for your campaign?
Tells them I show up. I'm going to keep my promises and make some changes.
He says he's running against Democrat Annie Kuster in the 2022 midterm elections. Kuster is currently in her 5th term as a U.S. Congresswoman representing New Hampshire's 2nd district.
I thought Ann was a state representative.
No. So a state rep is in the state house in Concord.
Yeah, that's what Ann is.
No. She's in Washington.
Oh, well, I guess I got to run against that then.
So Washington it is.
Oh boy. There goes the media again, always with the gotcha questions. What are you running for? What state is that in? How many fingers am I holding up? Yeah, guys, I know it's shocking, but it turns out a guy who thought he could overturn the election by breaking into the Capitol and chugging wine doesn't have a super solid grasp of the political process. I mean, think about it. This dude is going to run for Congress? He's a dangerous extremist who's completely unqualified and unprepared. So yeah, he'll fit right in. But that's not the point. Like, what's his first day even gonna be like? He's gonna show up at the office, smash his way in through the window, psst, I'm back! Honestly though, there is a small part of me that hopes this guy does get elected, because that means when the next insurrection happens, he'll see what it's like to be on the other side. Oh, I appreciate the irony now. Joe Biden, President of the United States and man whose bloodstream is 60% mint chip. All this week, Biden has been on a diplomacy tour of Europe. And today was his big summit meeting with Russian president and man strangling you with a wire right now, Vladimir Putin. So, let's see how it all went down in another installment of Grandpa's Day Out.
President Biden is en route back to the U.S. after his high-stakes summit today with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Both leaders agreed the tone of the meeting was positive. However, deep divisions remain.
This is not a kumbaya moment, as they used to say back in the 60s in the United States, like, let's hug and love each other.
Let me tell you, in life, there is no happiness. There is only the specter of happiness.
God damn! What happened in there, people? Did they hold a bilateral meeting or watch Mayor of Easttown? Because Putin got dark, man. Although, to be fair, I mean, Russians are a bleak people in general. In life, there is no happiness. That's basically how Russian soccer moms say, live, laugh, love. But there was some substance that came out of this summit. For instance, Biden says that he told Putin that certain critical infrastructure should be off limits to cyber attacks. And he even gave Putin a list of 16 specific things not to attack. And look, I get the idea of giving your enemies a red line that you warn them to never cross, but you gotta admit, it's gonna be a bad look when they go after the places that didn't make the cut. Now, before everyone gets mad about what happened to St. Louis, I gave Putin a free pass on that, so that's kind of on me. But in my defense, they were number 17. They were number 17, everybody. Twitter, the internet's septic tank. And now, one of its most famous users is expressing regrets about how she spent her time on the platform.
This morning, Chrissy Teigen is publicly apologizing, breaking her social media silence to address past tweets and cyberbullying. On Monday, writing in a lengthy blog post, I know I've been quiet, and Lord knows you don't want to hear about me, but I want you to know I've been sitting in a hole of deserved global punishment, the ultimate sit here and think about what you've done. Last month, Teigen's decade-old tweets resurfaced showing a string of harassment directed at model and TV personality Courtney Stodden. Teigen told the then teenager in one now deleted tweet captured by BuzzFeed she wanted Stodden to take a dirt nap. Late Monday, fashion designer Michael Costello posted screenshots of Instagram DMs from Teigen, sharing that he's still traumatized, depressed, and has thoughts of suicide after online interactions with the star back in 2014, and alleges Teigen tried to ruin his career. In her blog post, Teigen says she's privately reaching out to people she has hurt. Not a day, not a single moment has passed where I haven't felt the crushing weight of regret for the things I've said in the past. I have to stop and wonder, how could I have done that?
Whew. Okay, there's a lot of stuff to unpack here. In fact, there might be too much to unpack. Which means we're probably going to need another edition of Now Let's Talk This Out. Whew. Okay, so first of all, I think we can all agree that Chrissy Teigen has been a particularly horrible person online. Because yes, a lot of people have said mean things on Twitter, but to chase people into their DMs, yo man, that's like Mike Tyson coming to punch you one more time at home after the fight. It's pretty f***ed up. And you know what's really wild about this whole story? Is that Chrissy Teigen was in this world of vitriol and hate when her husband is famous for singing the most uplifting love ballads. Like, she was sitting on the couch, tweeting that people should kill themselves, and John Legend was 10 feet away in the same room, singing, all of me loves all of you. And honestly, I'm glad that Chrissy Teigen is owning up. I'm glad that she's owning up to being a horrible person online, because that is what we want, right? We want people to be better, and we want people to grow. It doesn't immediately excuse what they did before, but I think it's way better than them not learning and growing. And you know, even though the story was so messed up, what really gives me hope is that back when Chrissy was bullying people online, millions of people were cheering for her. But now, a lot of those people are criticizing her for that same thing that they cheered. Which, yes, on the one hand is hypocritical, but on the other hand is good, because it shows you that society has evolved, which is what we're always trying to do. We don't want to accept the shit that we used to. And please, don't get me wrong. Online bullying still happens way too often. But at least now, there's much more awareness of how harmful it can be. And for that, we obviously must thank Melania. And I don't know how she did it. I just, think she held a press conference one time and stood in front of a sign, and the next thing you know, we be best. But this apology also made me think about why exactly Chrissy Teigen was so brutal to people to begin with. Because let's be real, Chrissy Teigen was far from the only asshole on Twitter. Right? Yeah, she might have been one of the biggest and one of the best at it, but being on Twitter is a lot like when dogs meet at the park. There's assholes on display everywhere. And that's not an accident. Like, what we have to understand is that social media pushes people into being their most asshole-ish self. Roasting people, dunking on them. That's how you get the likes. That's how you get the retweets. It's how you have fun. It's how you get to be part of the group. And the platforms want you to spend all your time on them, so they send you stuff to outrage you. Twitter sees when a few people are attacking someone, and they put that in the trending topics. 5 people dunk on some random guy, and then Twitter says, oh, maybe everyone in the world would enjoy dunking on this random guy. Is the random guy going to enjoy it? Yeah, whatever. If he didn't want the whole world telling him to get AIDS, he shouldn't have posted that tweet to his 45 followers. He wanted this. So then what do you end up with? You end up with millions of people looking to roast each other, to say the nastiest things that they can think of until they go too far, and then all of a sudden, the outrage they were a part of turns on them. And that's not a mistake. It's how the system is set up to keep us all online and to keep making money for the platforms. Because think about it, Chrissy Teigen wasn't going up to people in real life telling them to kill themselves. In fact, most of the things people say to each other online, they would never dare say to another human being in real life. But there's something about the platform that incentivizes people to be the worst versions of themselves. And until we ask ourselves why, all we're doing is chasing after the symptoms and not the cause. And look, I'm not going to pretend that I'm better than anyone else. I mean, Lord knows I've said things on Twitter that I wouldn't say today, and I don't know how to fix this. The truth is, though, that people being dicks on the internet is probably going to be a problem for a long time. And it's going to be a problem as long as these platforms reward people for being dicks online. The last tweet before the ocean swallows us all up is going to be someone saying like, yo, look at this iceberg melting like a bitch. But I will say this. We can't change the platforms overnight, but the least we can do is make an effort as individuals to be a little less cruel. And I'm not saying every tweet has to be smiles and gumdrops. We can still be humans, we can still have fun, but maybe, just aim for that giant space between Chrissy Teigen hate tweets and any John Legend song. Here in the United States, we are now on the cusp of summer. That magical time of year when you're reminded how ugly everyone's feet are. And while there's a lot to love about summer, thanks to climate change, there's also going to be more than ever to hate.
Historic heat, record-smashing temperatures across the West. 101 in Denver, 107 in Salt Lake City. Death Valley approaching the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth.
The oppressive, stifling heat wave searing the West is tonight delivering some of the most dangerous temperatures of the year, threatening to shatter nearly 200 records through the weekend. Some 40 million Americans already under heat advisories, watches, or warnings.
Some experts are warning of pavement burns. A burn center in Phoenix says sidewalks and roads could heat up to around 180 degrees there.
Nevada and Arizona were warning people, do not walk barefoot anywhere. Don't walk your pets in the heat of the day. And take a towel with you for grabbing and opening door handles.
The National Weather Service also gave out this warning to people out west, saying, quote, no easy way to say this, so we'll just cut straight to the chase. It's going to be very hot for a long time.
That's right. Very hot for a long time. also known in meteorology circles as the Halle Berry phenomenon. And guys, if we don't do something about climate change, very hot for a long time is going to be the weather forecast for the rest of the century. It'll be the first thing we tell every baby born from here on out. Welcome to the world, baby. It's going to be hot for a very long time. I mean, it is dangerously hot out there right now, people. In some places, the sidewalk is 180 degrees Fahrenheit. You've got to be insanely careful at that temperature. I mean, look at what happened to this guy who just went outside to check his mail. So like people, I just hope that everyone stays safe and everyone listens to the experts on this one, because heat is no joke. And I know Americans. A lot of Americans don't like being told how to protect themselves. First it's masks, now they're making us wear shoes. Scientists can't tell me what to do. I'm going outside. Ha, 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 ha. Take that, Fauci. Ha, ha. Now, of course, climate change isn't the only threat to humans on the planet. There's also asteroids, God's WMDs. But now, NASA is a step closer to at least knowing when they're coming.
NASA approved the launch of an asteroid hunting space telescope to help prevent potentially dangerous collisions. The new aircraft would use infrared technology to detect most of the potentially hazardous asteroids and comets that come within 30 million miles of Earth's orbit. According to NASA, there are already more than 25,000 near-Earth objects, but scientists believe there's many more waiting to be discovered. The NEO's surveyor is scheduled to launch sometime in 2026.
Shh, dude. What are you doing? Don't tell them it won't launch until 2026. Now the asteroids know they got 5 years to light us up. What are you doing? I mean, look, I'm glad that they got this telescope going, but the bad news is that all it can do is see the asteroids coming to us on Earth. We don't have any way to stop them, right? We're helpless. So Earth is basically just going to be me when my mom was coming at me with the belt. What we should be focusing on is not asteroid detecting technology. We need asteroid destroying technology. Because people, we cannot, and I mean this, we cannot let an asteroid wipe us out. The dinosaurs are going to roast the shit out of us in heaven.
Well, well, well. Look who's also a bunch of fossils now. Oh, did the asteroid not care that you had opposable thumbs?
And to be honest with you, if we can't do anything to stop the asteroids, I would rather not be warned that far in advance. Like, I want to know maybe 5 hours before the asteroid hits. You know, it gives me time to get home, be with my loved ones, spend my last moments hugging them, you know?
Oh, I'll see you on the other side, guys. I love you so much.
But if we find out we're going to die in a month, I mean, that's just too far away. I can't hug my family for that long.
I love you. I love you guys so much.
You guys want to go watch Loki or something? I heard it like wraps up a lot of the Endgame story. And still, this telescope is an amazing technological achievement. Although, as we're starting to see, the major flaw of every piece of advanced technology is that at some point, it will probably get hacked. And that includes everyone's favorite stationary bike that went to college, the Peloton.
Peloton users may be vulnerable to hackers accessing their information. The company is warning of a new security threat relating to the touchscreen on their Bike Plus. Wouldn't it be creepy? You're working out, suddenly somebody could see you. Cybersecurity company McAfee discovered the flaw. The company says hackers could access the user's screen and could potentially spy on riders using the microphone and camera feature. The threat most likely affects bikes used in public spaces that have public Wi-Fi, such as hotels or gyms. Still very creepy.
Yeah, that's definitely creepy. I don't want some Russian hacker taking over my Peloton spin class.
Give me 10 Bitcoin or I will push you harder than you've ever been pushed.
But I don't have 10 Bitcoin.
Okay then, we're doing the mountain level. Faster, faster. Believe in yourself, Trevor.
You gotta admit though, that's gotta be the absolute bottom rung of the hacker hierarchy, right? Because you've got hackers who are shutting down the oil industry, and then you've got other hackers who have all of Facebook's user data, And then you've got one guy who's like, I watched Karen Silverman bike a 5K. Yeah, big time. Like, my question is, why would you want to hack into someone's Peloton camera? We're in the golden age of television, and you'd rather watch someone's bike face for half an hour? Before we go, June is Pride Month, so please consider supporting an organization called the Trevor Project. It's the world's largest suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization for LGBTQ+ young people, and your support would help them offer LGBTQ+ youth free, confidential, and 24/7 lifeline chat and text crisis services. So if you're able to help in any way, then please go to the link below.